So I've continued with my 52 tags handmade from textile artist Ann Brooks. Every Friday on her YouTube channel, she uploads a new prompt, and the prompt can be anything from a theme, a color, or even a technique. And she'll talk you through the technique if you're not familiar with it. And for most of these, I was not familiar with the techniques, but my embroidery skills have improved considerably since I started this challenge. I wanted to show you my tags, 26 through 35. 26 was a medal, and it was inspired, at least for me, by a military medal. So I have the ribbon and then the medal part. I had a piece of fabric, and I just embellished what was already there. And I folded my little silk sari ribbon to make that little hanging medal. Tag 27 was actually creating this beading. So I created what looks like this long tassels for each one, just using some of my favorite color beads. I took inspiration from my fabric. Tag 28 is the spider wheel, and it's this interesting little embroidered stitch here, and I did it in pink, yellow, and white. I also incorporated a bead into it and added it to make it look like flowers. So it kind of can look like a spider web, and there's lots of abstract ways you can use it. Tag 29 is ort, which was a totally new topic for me. I had never heard of it before. Orts, I guess, are just those little scraps you have left over from your sewing, the little threads. And Ann Brooks told us to save them, and so then we just stitched them down to our tag. I separated them and sorted them to create a rainbow, and then I added them to my tag. Tag 30 was to make a little brooch, so I did just that. I had some fabric with a face on it, so I put that down first, and then I took ribbon, folded it to make it look like a dress, added additional ribbon, did some stitching for some flowers, and I have a cute little lady brooch. Tag 31 here is called gold work. And this was really fascinating to me. I had seen it, but never realized it was a technique in itself. It was used for royalty and military, where they actually incorporated gold into their uniforms. And because you can't sew with gold like you can with thread, you manipulate it into the shapes you want, and then you stitch down those bent shapes. So here I have something like a little gold, almost like a wire, and I could twirl it around and then stitch it down to hold it in place. Here I found some interesting gold coils, and so I had to bend them into shape and then stitch them down. And then over here, for the wings of this bee, I had just a gold little sprocket. So I wanted to use that. It was very exciting. Tag 32 here was the daisy stitch. So I just made lots of daisies. I used a stem stitch for the stems, put in a few little French knots just to create my little garden, and then I used lace as something just interesting, maybe a picket fence. Tag 33 was a really fun one, and it was flags. So this is kind of an interactive piece where these flags can move around. Stitch them on a piece of floss. I have my backing here, just a little surprise. And then I have my flags. I also tied some more embroidery floss in between them to pick up those colors. So I enjoyed this quite a bit. Tag 34 was a cuppa. And so some people made cups of coffee and cups of cocoa, and some people even made fast food cups. I guess that was their choice of beverage. So I did a to-go cup of coffee, and that was just really fun. I incorporated colors from my background into my coffee cup and to my mug. Tag number 35 was a fun one, and it was kind of just a very relaxing one after all these different complicated themes, and it was just to use precious fabric and 3 buttons. So I found some of my favorite fabric. It's very sentimental to me, and then I added my buttons on it. So these are tags 26 through 35, and I hope you've enjoyed them.